Australia will boost aid spending in the Solomon Islands. During his first official visit to the islands after being re-elected, Prime Minister Scott Morrison announced a $173 million grant program for the South Pacific nation over the next decade.
And this will allow the Solomons government to quickly finance urgently needed infrastructure projects. The move is widely seen as a way to stave off China's influence and investment in the Pacific.
China is the Solomon Islands' largest trading partner. The Chinese government has been putting pressure on the impoverished nation to cut ties with Taiwan and to join its Belt and Road Initiative.
And the Solomons still recognize Taiwan as a state separate from China. And while the U.S. has urged the Pacific nations not to switch their allegiance to Beijing, the Australian Prime Minister said it will not interfere in the country's diplomatic alliance with Taiwan.
I think we've got to be careful not to see what are ongoing and upgrading relationships here for Australia and the Pacific through those binary terms of the United States and China. They have their interests in the region, as do others, but our relationship with the Solomon Islands, our relationship with the Pacific transcends all of that.
Back in Australia, 3 massive Chinese warships made a showy arrival into Sydney Harbour this morning. While many residents were taken by surprise, Mr Morrison said his government was well aware of the planned visit. The People's Liberation Army ships carrying some 700 sailors will be docked at Garden Island for a 4-day stopover.
Now, the timing of China's naval call has raised questions, and it comes just a week after reports of Chinese military tailing Australian Navy vessels transiting through the South China Sea, and a day before the 30th anniversary of the Tiananmen Square incident. But Mr Morrison shut down speculation surrounding the Chinese ship's arrival.
Oh, we've known about that for some time. I mean, this was an arrangement, it was a reciprocal visit because Australian naval vessels had visited China, and this was a program of a reciprocal visit. They were returning from counter-drug trafficking operations in the Middle East, and that is a further demonstration of the relationship that we have. And this had been in train for some time. So it may have been a surprise to others, but it certainly wasn't a surprise to the government.